Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good Sunday morning to you. Starting live with a look over the Inner Harbor this morning. We are on weather alert. Thanks for joining us this Sunday, July 9th. I'm Taylor Stewart. Let's jump right in with your forecast. Meteorologist Amy Aronson. It doesn't look so bad out there right now. So what's happening later today?
Yes, storms are coming. Not only storms, but I think our biggest concern today is actually going to be for some slow moving storms, some heavy rain, and actually some flash flooding. Right now, we're pretty quiet, but you can see that slug of heavier rain coming into western Maryland. That's all tracking our direction. A couple of very spotty showers popping up now. That's kind of just a preview of what's to come. It is warm, it is muggy out there, so we've got a lot of moisture in place. Temperatures already in the upper 70s and low 80s. As we head through the rest of the day, rain chances will be increasing. I think it's between 1 and 2 o'clock that we get some of the heavier storms moving into our area. At that point, we're not only tracking the potential for some heavy rain and some flooding, but also some damaging wind gusts. Temperatures also not quite as warm today. We should end up in the mid-80s as the storms arrive. Now, coming up in just about 10 minutes, I'll break down the timeline of the storms hour by hour, and we'll also take a look ahead at how much rain we're expecting through the end of the weekend. Taylor?
All right, in a city in crisis, it's been a week since the deadly mass shooting in the Brooklyn Homes neighborhood. Police have since arrested a 17-year-old in connection to the shooting, but police say more than a dozen guns were used. 2 people were killed, 28 others shot, and 3 are still in the hospital this weekend. Now, keep in mind, this teenager was only arrested on weapons charges. It came after a day where social media posts allegedly depicted him showing a gun that he was pulling out of a backpack at the block party before the shooting got started. But only weapons charges. His lawyer spoke to Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost about the uncertainty surrounding his arrest.
We don't know what it was. We don't know if it was a real gun, if it was a toy gun. We have no idea what it was.
Okay.
And until we do know what it was, it's very difficult to basically make guesses. We don't know what it was.
Have you asked him?
I have asked him.
What did he say?
We just don't know what it was.
He said he doesn't know?
Well, we don't know what it was.
What does that mean?
That means that we don't know what it was.
The 17-year-old's arrest, coupled with 15 juvenile victims in this mass shooting, is reigniting calls for more action on juvenile crime, not only here in Baltimore, but across the state. Maxine Stryker has the latest.
A 17-year-old is in custody tonight in connection to the Brooklyn mass shooting. The young man seen in this video, allegedly with a gun, now facing weapons charges, but not homicide or attempted homicide, after 28 people were shot and 2 were killed Sunday. Of the victims, 15 of them were juveniles, ranging from just 13 years old to 17. While murders and non-fatal shootings are down throughout Baltimore, the city continues to see a spike in juvenile crime. This year alone, 11 juveniles have been killed, 58 others shot and survived.
What I will tell you is we need to do something fast, quick, in a hurry. Juveniles understand that nothing will happen to them.
City State's Attorney Ivan Bates believes recent changes in state law are contributing to the rise in juvenile violence.
To be honest, I think it's one of the worst pieces of legislation I've ever read.
Bates says Maryland's new Juvenile Justice Reform Act is just too lenient. The law passed last year is focused on services, not sentences, for young people.
So they cannot enter into an entire life of criminality, and they can understand the consequences for their actions.
If the most serious offense the child committed would have been an adult felony, the maximum penalty is 1 year probation. But any child under the age of 13 may not be charged with a crime.
The juvenile has an illegal handgun. The longest that they can be on probation is 6 months. 6 months. What services can we give a kid in 6 months?
Well, at least one Republican lawmaker is now calling for a special session in the wake of the mass shooting. Bates says he's just planning to stay in his lane, prosecuting the laws on the books. He said in part, "My job as state's attorney is to enforce the laws passed by the Maryland General Assembly. While I did not intend to call for a special session, I look forward to working with the governor and the legislature to ensure that we have laws that can keep residents safe."
Fox 45 News confirmed 4 Safe Streets workers were in Brooklyn before the shooting occurred. They de-escalated a number of conflicts that day, but we're told Monty did not relay that information to police. They did not answer several of our questions, which include what time the Safe Streets workers were at the block party when they left, and if they anticipate any policy changes. We reached out to Mayor Scott, too, about the communication between public safety agencies. Take a listen.
Do you still believe that Safe Streets is effective?
We know Safe Streets is effective, right?
After this, how can you say that?
Well, I could say many things after this. When you have an event like this, right, we don't say that the U.S. military is ineffective because 9/11 happens. So when you say, you know, somebody decides to go and blow up a building, and then we say, well, we must get rid of all of our federal intelligence agencies because this happened. That's just an idiotic way of thinking.
Baltimore City Councilman Mark Conway calling for a hearing to discuss the hours leading up to Baltimore's largest mass shooting in recent history. We spoke with a former Department of Justice official about what led to an apparent breakdown between Muncie and police. Questions about who knew what and when as a timeline begins to emerge of the day 2 people were killed, 28 others injured in a shootout at a block party in South Baltimore. Councilman Mark Conway calling for a hearing into communication between city agencies and law enforcement and their subsequent response. This after leaders with Muncie confirmed staff from Safe Streets, the city's gun violence prevention program, were present at the Brooklyn Homes block party and in fact de-escalated 3 to 4 disputes earlier in the day. If, when, and how that information was relayed to Baltimore police, not clear.
You have to ask the question, why did they leave if they had already mitigated 4 or 5 beefs prior to that? So why did they leave? And in leaving, why didn't they inform someone that these, you know, there were weapons there or there were beefs there and these things were going on? It's hard to think that in the midst of having 1,000 people, almost 1,000 people out in an event that no one from the police department knew.
Discharging a firearm, 8:15 Herndon Court, people shooting and fighting at the location. Anonymous caller.
That Saturday, dispatch audio indicates BPD was alerted to fights and violence in the housing development before multiple people were shot. But a sergeant saying not to go alone toward the crowd.
And we're coming, crosses overhead. Do not go into the crowd by yourself.
Councilman Conway, who chairs the Public Safety Committee, is calling on police, the Housing Authority, and leaders with Muncie for answers.
About all, but the other part of that is we're investing a lot of resources into Muncie, into Safe Streets, into these other organizations and agencies, and what we're not getting is the result that the community needs to feel safe.
Hannah pointing out there aren't any answers that can change the facts for the people living in the Brooklyn Homes community. 15 of those injured are minors. And as of Saturday morning, BPD tells FOX45 3 of the gun victims are still in the hospital.
One of the things that I think people lose sight of is the impact of the victims. So now you have 28 families that are disrupted, 30 families technically that are disrupted, 2 that will be planning funerals.
Now, Senate President Bill Ferguson did not make a theft a handgun, did not vote that way, and rather, he says no law would have stopped last Sunday's mass shooting. Take a listen.
Somebody that is willing to carry around a gun and then shoot up 30 people or several individuals, whether or not there's a new law passed in Annapolis, isn't stopping that decision.
Meanwhile, Senate Minority Leader Steve Hershey says Democratic lawmakers are scared to pass tougher gun laws because of fears of mass incarceration.
There are simply a number of legislators that do not want to see young Black individuals going to jail anymore. And I can understand where they're coming from, but they have to measure that with keeping their communities safe.
That brings us to our question of the day. Should state leaders be doing more to get illegal guns off of streets in Baltimore? So far, 96% of people who voted say yes. You can go to foxbaltimore.com/vote to weigh in. Baltimore County Police investigating a 45-year-old woman's death in the county as a homicide. The details surrounding this investigation just ahead.
And I'm tracking the potential for strong to severe storms this afternoon with damaging gusts. But I think our main concern is actually going to be for some heavy rain and some flash flooding as a result. I'll explain what the strongest storms are expected with the most rainfall in just a couple of minutes on Fox 45 Morning News.
All right, police say they're investigating the death of a 45-year-old woman in Baltimore County as a homicide. Lakeisha Wheeler was found slumped over her steering wheel in the parking lot of Pikesville High School. They say they found her just before 7 p.m. on Friday. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Anyone with information about this is asked to call Baltimore County Police. The Metro subway link shutdown between Owings Mills and the Johns Hopkins station will remain in effect through tomorrow night. This comes after an electrical fire at the Owings Mills station on Friday. MTA is conducting a thorough investigation of what caused the fire. In the meantime, though, a bus bridge will get you to and from your destinations. Powerball's jackpot reaching the 9th highest prize in history. Still ahead, the winning numbers and what some have in mind if they win the money. Family Law Season 2 returning to the CW. After the break, Be More Lifestyle host Mark Clark has more on what you can expect for this deep legal drama. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
The wait is finally over. Season 2 of the hit show Family Law is back. We're joined now by star of the show, Jewel Staite, who plays Abby. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. How you doing?
I'm so well. Thanks for having me.
Well, you look amazing. So, how excited are you for Season 2, the premiere of Family Law on the CW?
I'm so excited. I know Season 1 ended on this big, juicy cliffhanger with a lot of our audience being very shocked at what they saw. So we finally get to see how this is going to play out.
Now, so for our new viewers of the show, can you talk about where Abby is as the start of Season 2?
Right. Well, Abby has spent all of Season 1 proving herself, right, to this father that she's been estranged from for so many years. And she's also trying to find her way in this law firm with these two siblings that she's also trying to get to know. So by Season 2, she's found her footing. She's feeling pretty comfortable. She's wondering if maybe family law is her thing and not personal injury, which is what she was doing before. But her personal life is a hot mess. And she's going to have to figure out whether she's going to fight for this marriage that she's not even sure she believes in anymore. She's not even sure she's happy in that marriage anymore, or whether she's, going to have the guts to take the plunge and choose a new path for herself.
Can you give us, I know you can't, but I got to ask, can you give us something juicy about the relationship with Frank or Hank or something, girl? Give us something.
Well, you know, Frank, it's difficult because Frank spends all of season one being the good guy, right, in this relationship, and he's been very good at wagging his finger at Abby. You know, it's all your fault, Abby. But, you know, we see Frank in the elevator with this other woman at the end of season one. So maybe Frank is kind of the bad guy now. And maybe we get to see, you know, Abby sort of own it and you know, kind of give it to him a little bit, which for me was very gratifying as an actor to read those scripts, to finally let Frank have it. So we get to see a lot of that play out. And, you know, Abby's relationship with her dad, with Harry and the law firm, is always going to be a complicated one, but they're starting to find their footing. And we're also starting to see so many similarities between the two of them, which of course they would never admit.
I love it. So what's your favorite part, you know, playing Abby?
Well, I love that she tells it like it is. You know, she wears her heart on her sleeve. She has absolutely zero filter. So, of course, it's always fun being that person in the room. But my favorite part of this show is working with these beautiful people. It's been just, you know, the cherry on the sundae to realize that these are friendships I'll have for the rest of my life. And it's been a pretty incredible experience so far.
Awesome. Well, Jill, thanks for joining us and continued success. Okay, thank you again. Now, Family Law Season 2 is airing right now on the CW. You can watch the show Fridays at 8. Have a great one.
All right, a dangerous heat wave is stretching across the southern U.S. The National Weather Service issuing excessive heat warnings for parts of California, Arizona, and Nevada over the week. The planet's average temperature has been hitting record highs throughout the country. That's according to the National Centers for Environmental Prediction, which has been keeping track of those temperatures since the 1970s. Here at home, we are on weather alert due to potential damaging winds, storms. Let's send it over to meteorologist Amy Aronson, because right now it looks like a great time to maybe get outside, walk the dog, do a little bit of exercise.
Yeah, do it all now before the storms move in later. We're already actually seeing some pop-up showers here on the radar. So early this morning, you can see a couple of showers popping up through central parts of the state, one just north of Baltimore City currently. But the main event is coming over the next couple of hours. We actually have a flood watch that goes into effect at 12 today and will take us all the way through late tonight. That's due to the potential for some heavy rain and flash flooding. If you are going to be out later and encounter a flooded street or roadway, you never want to drive through it. You always want to find an alternate route. We saw some water rescues back on Friday. We don't want to see that situation repeat itself today. We've also got a slight risk for severe weather. So that's a 2 out of 5 on our threat level scale. Main concern today with any storm that develops, damaging wind gusts. Right now, all is quiet and calm, looking down at the inner harbor. So yeah, now's the time to maybe squeeze in a quick walk, knock out your Sunday errands. We are off to a warm and a sticky start. Low 80s to begin, with dew points well into the 70s, making it feel even warmer and more uncomfortable. So we've got this juicy air mass in place, and then we've got this cold front pushing into it. What's going to happen is showers and storms will head our direction slowly, and as slow-moving storms develop, that's when we could see that flooding issue develop. We could also see some damaging wind gusts with any storm that manages to reach us. So right now, you'll notice the storm's quite a distance away from us, over 100 miles to the west of us right now, but they are working their way eastward. And according to our in-house forecast model, it shows after 12 o'clock, things really flare up here. Between 1 and 2 o'clock, activity gets going west of Baltimore and then pushes into the Baltimore area shortly after that, between 2 and 3, and lingers through early this evening. Activity should wrap up and be out of here by 8 o'clock. After that, a couple of leftover showers, but I think we're in better shape for Monday morning. Monday afternoon, we could see some lingering showers in the backside of this weather maker, but I think that's the tail end of it. And after that, we'll actually enjoy a brief break from the heat plus the humidity. Here's an updated look at how much rainfall we're expecting. Looks like a solid inch, an inch and a half in most spots. Higher amounts could develop, and that's where we'll see that flooding concern, mainly in low-lying areas. So for today, pretty unsettled. We've got that weather alert posted. We see showers and storms develop anytime after 12 o'clock through later this evening. And because of all that, we do have that weather alert that will continue. Tomorrow, we'll start off with some clouds and some leftover showers, but we should see some clearing by the late afternoon. And it's going to feel better, too, with high temperatures in the mid-80s, also much less humidity. After that, we welcome back some sunshine. Tuesday to Wednesday look nice and bright, but then here comes our next heat wave. That gets underway on Wednesday. Heat and humidity builds through the end of the week, heading into the weekend, and as it builds, we could see a couple more showers and a couple of storms start to pop back up again. And that storm chance will take us all the way through next weekend. Taylor?
All right, a thief tries to nail down his heist with some intimidation at a nail shop, but he gets the cold shoulder. No cash. Take a look.
Give me the money. Where's the money? Everybody, give me everything. Where's the money?
Not a flinch. Not a flinch. The man is on security video here entering that nail salon in Atlanta with apparently a disguised weapon. No one's buying it. He demanded patrons lie down, put the money in the bag. I mean, they just kept getting their nails done. Look at that. The store owner obviously giving a call to somebody, likely police, but everyone unmoved. The suspect left in a silver-colored sedan. They're still looking for him, and they've offered an reward for his arrest. Well, some party animals startled a couple in Vermont while they were boating on the 4th of July. Good news is they didn't trash their boat, but they could have. Steve Limpkin and Shannon Limpkin were out by Lake Chaplin enjoying the water. When they returned to the boat, they realized they were not alone. There were 2 raccoons right there that had snuck in the boat, and the couple quickly tried to separate themselves from the little critters. Take a listen.
We didn't really have much choice but to keep going, so we kind of got a couple of cushions to fend them off.
And we did the best we can. I'm like an animal lover, so I was like mortified of thinking of these like raccoons being in the middle of the lake.
Wow. Neither the couple nor the raccoons were hurt. Shannon says the raccoons seem to be more focused on taking in the sights than trying to hurt them. All right, trending now, the Powerball jackpot is still looking for a winner. Here are the numbers, okay? 7, 23, 24, 32, 43, 18. Nobody took home yesterday's drawing of $615 million. The pot is now jumping to $650 million, the 9th largest Powerball prize ever. So right now, there have been 33 consecutive drawings. No big winner yet. Some are already making a list of what they would do if they had access to all that money.
What would I do with the money? I think I would share it with my 2 sons, first of all, and buy myself a nice big house. That's what I'd like to do, and continue to travel a little bit.
I'd buy a big house, cars, trucks, I don't know, quit my job.
Okay, well, the next drawing will be tomorrow. People in 17 states, that includes Maryland, could be able to see the Northern Lights in July. It's on the 13th, and if it's on your bucket list, this might be your chance. So all the states of border Canada, the Airspace and the Weather Prediction Center saying if you're interested in seeing this, you should get away from city lights. The glow is produced by electrons from space that interact with the sun and the Earth's magnetic field. And the higher geomagnetic activity, the brighter the aura. All right, weather alert mode this evening as meteorologist Amy Aronson lets us know what time you can expect to see those showers. Stick with us here. She's got our 7-day forecast.
56 on this Sunday. Weather alert day. I know it's kind of tough to tell right now, but storms are coming, and it's the heavy rain, the flash flooding that's going to be a concern. I just saw Howard County actually tweet out to move your cars if they're in historic Ellicott City, because of course they always prepare for flooding days there. And we are looking at that flood watch that will kick off at 12 today and take us through late tonight. So flash flooding